evolved. Evolution is going to occur. We're just trying here today to sort of encourage everybody and give people some clues on how it can be done with the most grace. So we don't have to suffer and go through these extreme hell states in order to get to the next stage of evolution. It's going to happen because there's a divine plan that's at work and there's nothing that's going to stop it. Now, you know, in my apocalyptic vision of that, I could see that maybe only 500,000 people are going to get there because our resistance is going to be so great that the earth isn't going to have any choice but to wipe out most of the population. But then alternately, in my most ideal vision, I can see that all that we have to do is change our minds and then live it. Live the enlightenment that we arrive at, and we could get through this phase very beautifully and fulfill this evolutionary demand with the least amount of, you know, pain, sorrow, suffering. But there is going to be some pain, sorrow, and suffering because there is on planet Earth, and that's just been part of the story on Earth since the beginning of time. And so I have a little advice here. When you're watching television or you're getting overstimulated in any kind of way, visualize this acceleration that's occurring in our field and realize that you don't need to jump on that roller coaster. You don't need to go that fast. And then notice how great it feels just to let it all go. You know, you're all speeded up because you're watching this stuff on TV and it's the latest disaster scenario and your rent's late and, you know, all this stuff is going on in life outside of you, inside of you. And you feel like somehow you're supposed to keep up with it all. And instead of trying to keep up with it, just stop, sit down, ground yourself, and take a deep breath and go, I can just let this all go.
But I have a question for you, because there's two things that came up. You talked about changing your mind and this human evolution, this evolution is actually happening. So I have two questions. First of all, when you say change your mind, what do you mean by that? I mean, there's books about it, and it's what I do for a living is help people to change your mind. But people are going, well, what does that mean? What do I mean? What does that mean, change my mind? So give us a little chat about that. What do you mean by that?
I would love to do that. Well, first of all, I just want to address the fact that one can change their mind at any moment, and it only requires a nanosecond for that mind to change. And change sometimes isn't even the right word. Sometimes it's just thinking a new thought.
Exactly.
You think a new thought, and then the seed has been planted for that thought to evolve and grow into something more. And so, you know, oftentimes we're telling ourselves this story about what has to occur in order for us to be okay in our lives. You know, like the economy needs to recover, or you know, we need to find a way to eliminate terrorism from the world, or whatever it might be. And we get real attached to these ideas, or I'm not going to be okay unless I can pay my mortgage on my home, and if I can't, all is ruined. I mean, changing your mind just means that you realize that whatever you're very attached to isn't really the truth. For me, human enlightenment at this particular moment in time is just realizing that we need to take care of and honor this planet we live on, and we need to take care and honor one another. That simply is the most important thing, and then everything else grows out of that. Now, that's not too big of a thought. As an example of changing your mind. So all the people out there in the world who think that, you know, we have to have a growth economy in in order to be okay and to have a growth economy, we have to have lots of oil, and we have to, you know, rape and pillage the earth because we need to make more money, more money, more money. And that's something that a lot of people really do believe. If they could just change their mind and realize that we can create a sustainable, renewable economy, and we will all be so much better off if we can do that and then get to work on doing that. Well, that's what's so wonderful about this Mayan calendar, because what it's saying is that this quantum field that we live in, it's being enhanced, and we are being given the energetic support we need to activate our minds so we will change our minds or think higher thoughts, so to speak. And, you know, that's what, again, the end of the calendar is about. We will have gotten all the quantum energy enhancements to the field, and we will be living in a unified field that will support unified thought. And we've always existed in duality, and duality has driven us to evolve and grow and continue to reach for the next thing and want the next thing, and it's served its purpose. But we've come to the end times, the omega point, where we've done that to its extreme, and now we're to balance and unify and come together. Is if we resist this change that is upon us, it is going to make things a lot more difficult. And if we can surrender and embrace our need to change, it will make the ride much more enjoyable, much more exciting, and much more fulfilling.
And that sounds like a much better plan to me. Like we said over and over again, it's already happening. It's been happening for a really long time. It's speeded up, and everybody I know feels that speeding up. Everything feels really intense right now. I know I was talking to somebody and said, you know the tsunamis that are happening outside of you? Well, when they happen outside of you, energetically, they're also happening inside of you, you know, so which made perfect sense to me. And I know people are feeling it in different ways: chaos, stress, bliss, pain. Some people are really, you know, creating all kinds of different pain and disease in their body through all this as well. So, like, just give us all one tiny little thing we could all do to move easily and gently into this new way of being.
I think the most supportive and positive thing I can say is, in this accelerated period that we're in now, everything is magnified. So any positive thought that you think is magnified. Any prayer that you say is magnified. Any spiritual practice that you already partake in is going to be magnified. Pay attention to that. The fact that when you say a prayer and you really take the time to feel the prayer in your heart and to make that intention for that prayer to be of service in whatever way it is, to actually feel the effectiveness of that. Everything is magnified, so whatever we do is magnified. And so that same way for the negative, you want to catch yourself in your negativity, because it's going to be magnified too. And so, you know, spiritual practice of any kind is going to work better than ever before. Now, some people that are watching the show may not feel like they have a spiritual practice, and so that would be a good indicator, if that's how you feel, to create one. And a spiritual practice can be anything that connects you more strongly with yourself and with the planet. And in that process of connecting with self and connecting to this earth that we live on, it makes us more available to connect to communications coming from the other dimensions.
So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And I could talk about the Mayan calendar. I love all this stuff. I've been waiting for this. I feel like, I mean, I could say my whole life, but it really feels like lifetimes and millions of years I've been just waiting for this moment, and it's here. And I know personally I'm not going to waste a minute of it. If loving myself and loving other people and loving the planet is the way to move through this and surrender, and sounds like a pretty good plan to me. It's all good, you know?
Yeah, I think it's
all good stuff.
To make positive intentions in your life, and then to step forward into those intentions, and then to watch how the universe supports you when you make a positive intention and you step positively into that intention.
So set your intentions, decide where you want to be in all of this. You know, there is going to be fear, there is going to be chaos, there's going to be craziness, floods, tornadoes, and hurricanes. Where do you want to be as all this is going on? Like I said earlier, my intention for myself is that no matter what's going on, I always feel that well-being, a sense of peace, and I've got everything I need. So that's my intention for all of this, you know.
So be it, Mitch.
So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. And if you have any questions for Howard, what would be a really good way? Do you have an email, people?
I do. My email address is Howard, HOWWORD 5@gmail.com.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and put that across the screen. If you want to reach me, you could always reach me at Mitch Friedman, the number 1 @gmail.com. That's Mitch Friedman 1 @gmail.com, or take a look at my website. Just add a www.mitchfriedman1.com. Have a nice evening. Happy Mayan Calendar, and we'll see you next week.